Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How are we doing on this fine evening, Wednesday, February 9th, 2022? Hump day. Hump day. We made it, everybody. We're on to the back end of this. And as always, we are going to have a great time. And before we get into anything important, I have to give you my little spiel here, because if not, you people might forget. What do you mean, you people? Yeah, I mean, you people. Like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're on Spotify or iTunes. And as always, spread this word of mouth. Tell everybody you know. Cool podcast, doesn't take too long, reads an article. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't, but I always love that host because he's amazing. Alex, he's just a cool guy. So definitely go do that for me. I'd really appreciate it. Now, little do people know, David and I, my brother over there, just got done recording our show for the Alex Cuesta Show, the main one, the shebang, the weekly one. David, say hi to everybody. He's muted. So,
hello.
So he'll be in the background there. If he wants to say anything, he might give the high sign, but he's promised me he's going to be like a small child in the background that's only meant to be seen and not heard. So that is what's going to go on. So as we have been doing lately, we are going to start off the show with the Biden COVID tracker because, you know, he was going to end this thing. He had a plan and he still has a plan. And it's now trickling to all of the governors in blue states. We're going to have to learn to live with it. That's the plan now. Let's just, we got to learn to live with it. Joe Biden failed at beating the virus. So now we just have to learn to live with it. So just remind everybody that he started January 20th, 2021 is when I kind of credit him. 24,496,018 cases and 401,823 deaths. As of yesterday, the 8th, he was at 76,852,768 cases and 905,543 deaths. As it stands today, the 9th, he is up to 77,065,356 cases. That is up 212,588. And now at 908,000 deaths, 908,820 deaths, which is up 3,277. We've been seeing kind of a trend down in deaths. Started to tick up more yesterday. It's back to being above 3,000 again. So we're getting more. He's about to crack the 910,000 mark. I'm predicting he will crack that tomorrow. So we shall see where this goes. But again, is it fair to put all this on Joseph Robinette Biden? Probably not. But do I care? No, because he's a guy that campaigned on coming in and he had a plan to beat the virus. He was going to beat it. So now it's the onus is on you to beat it. He already admitted failure. So now we're going to keep track of it. And we're going to see if any of his mitigation plans work, which they are not. Because we still are seeing the same number of deaths going up and down. We're still seeing a ton of cases. So Joe Biden has been an abject failure on COVID-19. Everybody needs to remember that. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So as the governments around the country try to ease up on mask mandates, tell us we're just going to have to live with it now, which, fun fact, the red states, which I hate saying blue and red, but it's true right now, your Floridas, your Georgias, your Texases, your South Dakotas, they already have been doing that, you dumb motherfuckers. They have been doing it already. So now it's being reported by the blue state governors like, oh, we just, we're now at that point. We are there when not much has changed. Not much has changed from when Florida, Texas, all them did their thing and said, no, we're done with this. We're not doing it anymore. We're going back to living. We're done crushing our economies. Now the blue state governors, the Democrat governors are being heralded as heroes because, now because the government says we can get back to living, we can safely do it because trust your government. So that's where we are with Biden. We are going to jump in here. I did something yesterday where I took an article written by a high school track and field champion. She's an 800-meter champion, has the record for all-time fastest in Iowa, won the national title in the 800-meter. Her name is Ainsley Erzin. Her article was posted in the Des Moines Register, and she penned a really, really great letter, fantastic letter, about keeping women's sports keeping them sacred, and gave a bunch of examples written very articulately. And I read it word for word. because it was worth reading and worth getting out there. It was powerful. So everyone go listen to that. If not, search Ainsley Erzin, ERZN, Des Moines Record, search for her letter, read it for yourself. Extremely powerful. Going to keep up with the ID me stuff because it's important. So last time I talked about ID me, I reported that the IRS dropped them. Might not be true. What I saw from CNN Business article, Rachel Metz basically covers that ID me is just saying, you don't have to use the facial recognition. No more selfies are mandatory. You don't have to do it. It's not the first step. The first step now is talk to a representative instead. So wait a second. Wait a fucking second. You mean to tell me that I don't have to send you a selfie? I just have to connect with you via video, which, if anybody's tech savvy at all, you could still take pictures of people via video. It's called a screen capture or screenshot or whatever you want to call it. It's still real easy to do. So still don't feel comfortable about any of this. It never said anything about not sending in pictures of your ID. It still never said anything about not sending in pictures of your passport in order to verify it. So I still don't like it. And if you refuse to do the video or you can't connect, you still have to send a selfie. So this is still very intrusive. And it's still apparently in 30 states, a growing number of federal agencies, in the Treasury Department, Social Security Administration. It's right there, written in this article here. And again, what does the article say? The title is After Face Recognition Backlash. ID.me says government agencies will get more verification options. So, it's not gone. So I was misreporting by me the other day. This isn't gone. It's still there. Now it's speak to a representative to verify yourself. And if you can't do that, then you got to send the selfie. So no, it's still there. Still doing the same thing. Our IRS is still trying to sneak in. And this was written today on the 9th. So yeah, can't trust them. Don't do it. I'm going to keep on top of this because ID.me is still there. It's still involved and it's still a problem. So now after yesterday talking about digital currency with the CMDBs or something like that, I forget what the name of it was, the digital currency becoming a thing. There was an article that India, the CBDC, they're going to do a government mandated e-wallet by 2023. So India is doing it. China has theirs going. A bunch of other governments are doing it. Our United States is trying to do it. They tested it yesterday. And now we're doing digital passports are still going to be a thing using the federal government and at least 30 states now. Keep a watch for this because this is still going to be bad. One more thing I'm touching on before we get into the main article. The White House is going to supply crack pipes to crack addicts for free through their new grant. I know the White House denied it. Jen Psaki, Peppermint Patty herself, said that was no way going to be in there. It's going to be safe things, safe smoking kits. They're going to have like alcohol swabs, lip balm, other materials promote hygiene and reduce transmission of diseases like HIV and hepatitis. I found this article in the New York Post. Callie Patterson and Samuel Chamberlain wrote it. White House denies grants funds would let nonprofit orgs buy pipes for drug addicts. Get the fuck out of here. These are the same people that have grants that allow heroin addicts to get free syringes, clean syringes. And you're telling me that now you're not going to give them free crack pipes? That's not it. We would never give away free things where they can do drugs with them. No, never. No free crack pipes. But we give away free syringes and we're going to give them all the tools to smoke crack. Shut the fuck up. You're going to give them free crack pipes. They're just trying to cover their back. So yes, the Biden administration has put $30 million aside where part of it is going to go to giving these people crack pipes. If you believe them on face, the HSS second person representative and Peppermint Patty Psaki coming out and saying this shit, you're out of your mind. You're being lied to. And the best part about this is, the funniest part about this, the executive order, what it said is the communities defined in the order that are, I guess, the most important. Tell me if this shit isn't racist, all right? Tell me if this isn't racist. The communities defined in order to be, what does it say? Total population focus, underserved communities, Black, Latino, Indigenous, Native American persons, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, or other persons of color. members of religious minorities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, LGBTQ+, persons with disabilities, persons who live in rural areas, which I always find hilarious that they throw that in, and persons otherwise adversely affected by persistent poverty or inequality. They cover their ass a little towards the end there. They include white people in the end there. But in the beginning, their priority is all immutable characteristics. Tell me that's not one of the most bigoted fucking things you ever heard. We are going to make sure that you poor drug addict motherfuckers can still do your drugs cleanly. That's exactly what they just said. So it's, oh my God, it's not even soft bigotry, the outright bigotry of the Biden administration and all the people that believe in this stuff is in your face, and you just choose not to believe it because they said, we're just trying to help people by giving them crack pipes and syringes. Cool. Anyway, off of that, we're going to jump into the main article of the day. And it is from a website I've never heard of. Don't hold me to this. It was written on Monday. So today is Wednesday. It is by William Hughes. It's from the AV Club. I have no clue what the AV Club is. Don't know. But the article is update. Spotify CEO issues apology to staff, condemns slur usage, but says he won't silence Joe Rogan. All right, let's go in this one. Spotify pulled 70 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, the frequently off-course flagship of its ongoing efforts to dominate the podcasting market, off of its listings this week. Not, as it turns out, because of the ongoing attention being put on Joe Rogan's attitudes towards COVID-19 pandemic and his decisions to platform people like Dr. Robert Malone, a vaccine researcher who's been accused of spreading harmful misinformation about the disease. The episodes in question all predate the pandemic. And in fact, Spotify has given no reason whatsoever for the removals. So I'm going to stop right there. I will give this individual a little bit of credit. They attempted to sound like a journalist a little bit. They didn't, without putting their full-on opinion in there, they slowly did as they, it is true. It is true. The controversy has been stemmed up because he platformed people like Dr. McCullough, Dr. Malone, Tim Pool, James Lindsay. Like those are the people that they are really mad at him for platforming. So that there is truth in that. Calling him frequently off course, kind of stupid. The guy has had almost 1,800 episodes, and you're going to say frequently off course. You disregard so many of the guy's episodes where I guarantee a guy who I imagine is a lefty writing this would agree with this guy's, because newsflash, Joe Rogan's on the left, you dumb motherfuckers. Anyway, so I give him a little bit of credit there. Let's keep going. He has an italicized, but... So there you go. His journalistic integrity is gone right there. Where it does not feel especially coincidental to note that this move, which has been highlighted by JRE Missing, a site that compares the listings of all old Experiences episodes with Spotify's current roster, comes at a roughly the same time that Rogan himself hopped on Instagram to apologize for many instances in which he used a racial slur on his show over the years. That video, in turn, comes after compilations of Rogan using said slur dozens of times have begun spreading online, not for the first time, in light of the current scrutiny of the series. So let's stop here. Let's stop right here. First of all, Joe Rogan should have never have apologized. That's his first mistake. And he's been someone that knows about this because he knows how wokeism and woke mobs go. When you apologize, it's an admission of guilt, and then they want you out quicker. So he made that mistake. He should double back and say, fuck off, I take my apology back. You're a bunch of assholes. Number one. Number two, it's a word. It's a word. Bottom line, it might be really offensive to some people, but get the fuck over yourself. And number three, what we need to realize in the Joe Rogan podcast is he is quite literally just having a conversation. And a lot of these people are his friends. And I hate the holier than thou stance that a lot of these media assholes and celebrity types take when they're just like, oh, well, I've never said words like that in my life. And it's just like, no, fuck you, dude. You're a liar. Never, ever trust anybody that turns around and says that they've never said anything off color in a group of people they trust, or something extremely offensive in a group of friends that they trust. They are liars. Liars. There's nothing else to say. Yeah, maybe they haven't dropped the N-bomb. A lot of people put way too much weight on that word. Fine. But they have said things offensive, maybe not the N-bomb, but towards black people, towards white people, towards Spanish people, towards Jewish people, towards Asians, towards gays, towards trans, towards women, towards men. Name the gauntlet. Name it. In our lives, if you have lived at all, you have probably made a joke or multiple jokes about those groups of people in front of people you trust, and jokes you would not say in front of your mother, jokes you would not say in front of a teacher or a crowd of people you don't know. But therein lies the difference in the Joe Rogan podcast, because he is having conversations. His podcasts are 3 hours long, 4 hours long, 2 hours long. He is picking these guys' brains and girls' brains. He's having legitimate conversations. They're not scripted. They're not staged. He obviously has questions he wants to hit and ask these guests, but it's not like you're seeing on cable news where they have certain topics they can't touch, can talk about, scripted here, get through this, 3-minute segments. No, these are long segments. So he says some shit that maybe he regrets, or some things that you really wouldn't say in a normal light. Because I guarantee people as guests, Joe Rogan, he does this every day. This is his work in his life. He does not feel like he's at work. He probably forgets half the time he's on a podcast and he's just shooting the shit. And I will never sit there and take one thing somebody says in private, especially, and, condemn their whole existence off of it. Now, if you're somebody like a Louis Farrakhan, who still has a lot of his speeches on Spotify, who is openly anti-Semitic, openly racist against white people, openly bigoted, yes, you are judged. And then I know people are going to turn around and say, well, Joe Rogan has said the N-word multiple times on his show. Yes, but it was not in a hateful, hurtful way. That has a difference. There is a difference there. And I forget who the guest was. David, you're here. You might be able to remember her name, but you sent to me the Jason Whitlock thing where she said there was a huge difference. I don't know if you want to look it up, Dave. You might. You're over there. You're shaking your head at me. There's a huge difference when you say something like, come on, bitch, and use a bitch. Like, there's a difference when you use words in a certain way. That is a huge, huge, huge difference. So I'm going to go on to the next paragraph while Dave's looking that up. But I need to point that out, that the people telling Joe Rogan that he's wrong and made him apologize, fuck all of you. Go ahead, Dave. What do you got?
I believe her name is Shanika Michelle.
Shanika Michelle, yes. Go watch the segment between Jason Whitlock and Shanika Michelle where Jason Whitlock asks if people should still be using the N-word. It's a fantastic segment where Shanika Michelle starts off being very media and proper and then breaks down and is like, no, we're not done with this. And her main point is that the difference between ER and A don't exist with the N-bomb. It doesn't exist. The only reason people use the N-bomb with A is because that's how common black folk talk. Like she said, in a black household, you're not going to hear him say, pass the salt and pepper, please. You're going to hear him say, pass the salt and pepper, because that's just how a lot of the vernacular is. Coming from her mouth, not mine. Not as a only Spanish by heritage, technically white guy in many Lampa. I would be a white adjacent, I guess, in the world. But that's what they said. So let's continue so I don't go on too long here. Rogan's new video was more or less precisely what you would expect it to be, a mixture of apology and self-defense in which the words sorry and out of context appear in roughly equal measure. Rogan, who notes that whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up, assures viewers that he's not racist and calls the entire topic the most regretful and shameful thing I've ever had to talk about publicly. Now, this is where Rogan went wrong, because this is exactly what the wokeists want you to do. They want you to come out and say, I'm not racist. Because then if you are a Kendiite or you're a D'Angelo idiot, you will say that that admission means you are more racist. That denial is a white man's guilt or some other bullshit that they say. I've read both their books. They're both nonsensical. Robin DiAngelo writes at like a second grade level, though. She's the worst. But it's difficult. But yeah, this is what you don't do with the wokest mobs. Let's keep going. This isn't the first time Spotify has succumbed to episodes from the has scrubbed episodes from the Joe Rogan Experience archives. Past conversations with Rogan's guests from the far/alt-right include Alex Jones, which he's not. Alex Jones is not on the right. Milo Yiannopoulos, Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes, and more were edited out of Spotify's listings around the time it signed the multi-year exclusivity deal with Rogan reported to be worth roughly $100 million. And let's say something about Gavin McInnes. He's also the creator of Vice, and he left Proud Boys when the Proud Boys started to get too violent for his liking. So let's do a note on Gavin McInnes. He's censored for no fucking reason. He has some crazy views. I don't agree with them all. But he started Vice, which if you read Vice now is insane. And he also left the Proud Boys when they started to get too militaristic because he said, this isn't what we are. So, side thing, Milo Yiannopoulos is crazy, but all these people, the bottom line is, I guess it is, all these people have the right to free speech. So we need to stop censoring it. Let's keep going. This latest round of pulled episodes is notable, though, both in terms of size and the fact that it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the guest in question. Pulled episodes include appearances from Mark Maron, Pete Holmes, Dan Savage, Isla Schlesinger, and many more. Neither Spotify nor Rogan have given an explicit statement as about the episodes being pulled. Also, I have to include Michael Malice said he had 4 episodes of his pulled, not in the recent ones that he's done, but like earlier. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of censorship. Appreciate Spotify not pulling Rogan. Don't appreciate Spotify pulling these episodes, though. Free speech should be free speech, should be free speech. It should be absolute. Whether you agree with it or not, whether it's extreme or not, the only speech that isn't protected is literally threatening speech. Somebody cannot go on there and say, go out and kill this person, my followers. I want you to go out and kill this individual, actively plot against them and kill them. That is illegal. You can't threaten somebody. You can't, put physical harm onto somebody through that as an influence. That is wrong. You can get arrested for that. Free speech outside of that doesn't matter, whether it's crazy Marxist, like we hear Biden spewing all the time, or whether it is far-right extremism where they want monarchies back and theocracies. All stupid, but should be free. Okay, do we have an update here? Spotify CEO Daniel Ek has issued an apology to the staff of the streaming app for after 71 episodes of Joe Rogan Experience were pulled over the weekend from Rogan's use of racial slurs. In his letter, he writes that he is, quote, deeply sorry for the way the controversy has continued to impact them and harm done to the company's promotion. However, he says removing Rogan's podcast would be a slippery slope. AKA, we paid him a lot of money. Anyway, the CEO also outlines that the company is going to dictate an incremental investment of the $100 million for licensing, developing, and marketing of music, artists, and songwriters, and audio content from historically marginalized groups. So there you go. We paid him a lot of money. We're woke as shit. Please don't come after us. That's what that statement was. You can read X's full letter here. Dave, you're going to be the call on this. So I read the full letter. What do you got? Should I read this? Maybe I'll read it. People should know about it, I guess, right? Yeah, I'll read it. He shook his head. All right, let's do this letter. I'll try not to opine too much. I don't want to go too long. Spotify team. There are no words I can say to adequately convey how deeply sorry I am for the way the Joe Rogan Experience controversy continues to impact each of you. Not only are some of Joe Rogan's comments incredibly hurtful, I want to make clear that they do not represent the values of this company. I know the situation leaves many of you feeling drained, frustrated, and unheard. All right, sorry, I got to stop there. I'm sorry. Incredibly hurtful? If you're weak-minded, sure. Represent the values of this company, that sucks because free speech should be the value of your company, period. Let's keep going. I think it's important you're aware that we've had conversations with Joe and his team about some of the content in his show, including his history using some racially insensitive language. Following these discussions and his own reflections, he chose to remove a number of episodes of Spotify a number of episodes from Spotify. He also issued his own apology over the weekend. So in this way, they're framing that Spotify removed it. The CEO flat out said that he chose to remove these episodes. So that's different. It's very different than what's being reported that Spotify removed them. No, he removed them. Let's keep going here. While I strongly condemn what Joe has said, and I agree with the decision to remove past episodes from our platform, I realize some will want more. And I want to make one point very clear. I do not believe that silencing Joe is the answer. We should have clear lines around content and take action when they are crossed. But canceling voices is a slippery slope. Looking at the issue more broadly, it's critical thinking and open debate that powers real and necessary progress. That whole entire paragraph is contradictory. We're going to remove shit that we don't agree with, but we don't think that removing things we don't agree with is proper. Just don't remove anything. If you're offended by something said in an episode, don't listen to it. It's the age-old argument. Change the channel, listen to a different episode. That's it. It's not difficult. None of these episodes should be removed. None of them. Another criticism that I continue to hear from many of you is that it's not just a Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify. It comes down to our direct relationship with him. In last week's town hall, I outlined to you that we are not the publisher of Joe Rogan Experience. But perception due to our exclusive license implies otherwise. So I've been wrestling with how this perception squares with our values. Okay, your employees are morons. Your employees are idiots. Just because you pay someone a lot of money to be exclusive doesn't mean that you run their show. I know a lot of places go that way, but Joe Rogan really hasn't changed his show. If you listen to him before, you listen to him now, it's still a long form conversational, wanting to pick the brains of people he finds interesting. That's all it's been. Let's keep going. If we believed in having an open platform as a core value of the company, then we must also believe in elevating all types of creators, including those from underrepresented communities and a diversity of backgrounds. We've been doing a great deal of work in this area already, but I think we can do even more. So I am committing to an incremental investment of $100 million for licensing, developing, and marketing of music, artists and songwriters, and audio content from historically marginalized groups. This will dramatically increase our efforts in these areas. While some might want us to pursue a different path, I believe that more speech on more issues can be highly effective in improving the status quo and enhancing the conversation altogether. I agree with that last part. Let's talk about how dumb this investment is, though. I use this thing called Spreaker. I pay about $25, $30 a month, and I could share my stuff to Spotify. This is unnecessary. Unnecessary. What are they going to do with this $100 million? Give free people Spotify's? I guess. Anyone can already do one of these if you have internet access. It's not that difficult to podcast. It's why my dumbass does it, because it's not hard. So this is all, again, wokest bullshit. We're sorry. Diversity, inclusion, equity. Like us. Give us a good ESG score. Keep going here. I deeply regret that you are carrying so much of this burden. I also want to be transparent in setting the expectation in that in order to achieve our goal of becoming a global audio platform, these kinds of disputes will be inevitable. For me, I come back to centering our mission of unlocking the potential of human creativity and enabling more than 1 billion people to enjoy the work of what we think will be more than 50 million creators. That mission makes these clashes worth the effort. So my question here is, are they going to go on and take away anti-Semitic stuff? Are they going to go on and take away anti-white stuff? Black liberation theology stuff, where they talk about eliminating all white people? Black Hebrew Israelites, where they say they're the true Jews, they're the true Israelites, and that, the Jews shouldn't exist? Are they going to go on and take away Nation of Islam stuff, where, again, extremely white-hating? No, they're not, and we all know they're not. Let's keep going. I've told you several times over the last week, but I think it's critical we listen carefully to one another and consider how we can and should do better. I spent this time having lots of conversations with people inside and outside of Spotify. Some have been supportive while others have been incredibly hard, but all of them have made me think. One of the things I am thinking about is what additional steps we can take to further balance creator expression with user safety. I've asked our teams to expand the number of outside experts we consult with on these efforts and look forward to sharing more details. That has to make me laugh. User safety. On a platform where you choose and specifically press play to what you want to listen to, Spotify has to babysit what your fragile ears can hear. Understand the stupidity of this. Balance creator expression with user safety. You should be free speech, and people can choose whether or not to press play. There is nothing else to do there. Put an explicit tag. If they want to listen to something explicit, understand it might fucking offend you. Not very hard. Your passion for this company and our mission has made a difference in lives of so many listeners and creators around the world. I hope you won't lose sight of that. It's the ability to focus and improve Spotify, even on some of our toughest days, that has helped us build the platform we have. We have a clear opportunity to learn and grow together from this challenge, and I am ready to meet it head on. I know it is difficult to have these conversations play out so publicly, and I continue to encourage you to reach out to your leaders, your HR partners, or me directly if you need support or resources for yourself or your team. That's the letter, and it's signed Daniel. What a stupid fucking letter. Like, honestly, all you should be for, if you are a platform like a Spotify, we are for free speech. We do not control what our creators say, even if they are exclusive. And we will add explicit tags to anything that's explicit. Anything with the explicit tag, you listen to at your own risk. Done. You don't need to babysit ears. Are you kidding me? We're going to user safety. All you do, you click play. You choose to listen to these things. Oh, my God. And also, The Rock backtracked when some douchebag named Don Winslow, who used the N-word like 23 times in his publications, brought to light that Joe Rogan used the N-word on his podcast. So then The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's a pussy. Yeah, I know you're a 6'6" pussy, but you're a pussy. Walked back and said, "Oh, I didn't know about that." And he did it on Twitter, instead of talking to Joe Rogan and saying, "Hey, what's up, dude? after he was like, "You're such a cool guy. Let's kick it later." Yeah, no. People like that, you don't need. The Rock, don't be president if you're going to be that wishy-washy. It's a hard job. It's harder than having to go on Twitter and listen to somebody give you bullshit when he's a freaking racist. Anyway, before I get too angry and continue with this show, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everybody enjoyed my anger because it was there. It was clear. It was prevalent. If you like what you hear, if you want me to get more angry, send me more nonsense like that. If not, I might not get more angry with more shows. But like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're on Spotify or iTunes. Because, hey, guys, using $20 a month, $30 a month, I'm on every platform. It didn't take $100 million investment to get this half Spanish guy there. Hey. And as always, spread word of mouth. Let everybody know this show is worth listening to, and hopefully it can continue to grow. I appreciate everybody that listens. I appreciate everyone that always supports me. And I hope everybody has a good night. I will be back tomorrow. Whether you take that as a threat or not, it's up to you. So long, everybody.